full hat, all made and cinched down tight over your ears. So take it away, Dave and Mickey.
This is Dave.
And this is Mickey.
And we are Shiny Side Out on WZZR, coming to you from Australia for Revolution Radio on revolution.radio. Remember that. That's the website name. Where it's home to fresh, unfiltered ideas and conversations in the chat room. You know, I'm waft. I don't know how. And it's also a great place to get your merchandise. Do that. Support the station. This is show number 629.
920 and 600. Oy vey, where does the time go?
It's not linear, I'll tell you that much.
That's the truth.
Catch us on air, online, and anywhere on your smart device to grab an app to listen anywhere, or listen at home on a Grace tabletop digital radio. They still owe me. If you missed Laris's show it was the Cyber Witch Cafe tonight. Hurrah! I love it. And Niche and Solaris were on there, and it was just open topic, talking about everything that came up. And I have to say, Niche just sounded so tired. But, you know, love to you both, and thank you very much. Always a great show, Solaris, and great guests, great topics, fantastic, and we're really pleased that we follow on from your show. So, and to a note out to all the producers on the station who have sorted out all the issues that we saw going through. Like, I don't know, this is what, the 13th year now? I got a reminder the other day that I got a congrats for the 13th year.
Oh,
you know,
nice.
It was a LinkedIn thing, so yeah, good on you. Thank you very much. Do you know what? If you don't know who we're talking about when I say Solaris, she's like a what's it called? A multiple threat. She's
she's a Renaissance woman.
She's an author. She's she's been in video. She's a producer. She has two radio stations, shows that I know of. She's fantastic. It's a great guest, and it's fantastic. And you're missing out if you don't know who we're talking about. Do jump into the archives. They are free. Free is good. And in the world of financial trouble that we're all in with a high cost of living, which is orchestrated, just going to say that, every country around the world, Mackie, where I read and see the news, they're all talking about this cost of living dramas right now. They're all doing it. There's no country that's better off at the moment. We're all suffering. And hang on a minute. If we're all suffering, you've got to think someone's done that. Someone's approved it. They've all agreed to go ahead with it. They're just letting it all happen. And there's nothing we can do. Because the tighter it is that we're controlled, the harder it is for us to transition into the group that runs everything and is set themselves up to be the next world government. I'm looking at you, big tech and billionaires. We could really never ever get there. So they're widening that chasm, or the moat, if you will. Mackie, do you know what? I'm still broadcasting out of Bunjalung country. Where are you?
I'm, of course, in the lovely Principality of the Dark People.
Very nice. And we together, as Shiny Side Out, and independently of each other, also respect the elders, past, present, and future. So, I'm going to tell you, Mackie, I'm not going to give anything away, but I did see Dune Part 2 last night.
Nice.
Good movie.
7 hours. That's good.
Yeah, 166 minutes. You've got to be comfortable when you're going to watch it. Trust me. And one large popcorn. Oh, jeez, I wish I'd seen it in America, Mackie, with the butter. Oh. It's liquid metal. Liquid metal.
yeah.
It's liquid butter that they put on the popcorn over there, and you reach down into the bucket of popcorn like a chicken bucket, of KFC bucket. You reach down, and it's like at least a centimeter of liquid butter at the bottom, right, where the popcorn is slowly dissolving into it, like styrofoam and petrol. I didn't say that. Over here, we only have salt. And there's a butter flavored oil it's cooked in, but really, it's not. It's not butter. It's not butter. It is not the same.
It's not butter. What?
I can't believe it is butter. And you know what? I nearly had to go out again for another popcorn. I'd already burned through what we had. Do you know the popcorn's getting smaller? The shrinkflation is actually happening everywhere.
It's a thing.
The Jumbo Coke wasn't a Jumbo Coke. It was like the box was the right width, but it was only half the depth.
Yeah. It's insane. I mean, but the thing is this, it's not actually fraud because they put the actual weight on the thing.
Yep.
The package hasn't changed. The weight, the content has changed. Okay,
that's right.
Package, I mean, probably none of us collect packages or wrappers of the olden days, but I guarantee you, they used to weigh more, and now they weigh less. They're the same size still, the same size container or package, just less content. And it's not fraud because they put it on a packet. It's 100 grams instead of 200 grams, and that's okay. And then you end up with this you have this expectation. You go, oh, because I remember I buy these little snack packs for my kids.
Yep.
And we open, and my daughter opens up. Look at this, and there were like 3 lonely chips in there. It's bad. No, I kid you not. They were actually 3. Now they weren't tiny; they were big chips, and they had weight, right? But I'm thinking, really, 3 chips, and you put it in a plastic bag? Really? It's like when I went to Singapore, and I had this banana, which was wrapped up in a plastic bag because that. Clearly, it's what
nature
you
doesn't
do
make
banana.
Nature does not make a good banana protector.
I know, right? But seriously, a single banana in its natural skin in a plastic bag. No, really? Is this where we are? Okay.
All right. It's where we are.
I'd like to know where the way out. Where's the exit, please? Excuse me. Hello. I got off the wrong train. It's like, what are we thinking here? I mean, this is just insanity, right?
So yeah, it is, totally is. So the I've got to say something about the movie, Mackie. The cinematography is truly amazing.
Of course.
There's only 2 movies that I think the cinematography is amazing. One was the movie from the 90s, Less Than Zero. That was perfect. They had camera angles, and they did things with cameras that...
they had angles then, I tell you. Hey.
You know, the cameras capture light and put it on a film, Mackie. That's what they do. No, so the way they used the camera to represent with the lighting and what they're framing was exceptional. And even though I know that Dune Part 2... I remember talking about in the past. I remember talking about where you knew where reality finished and where CG started.
Yeah.
But in this one, I know how they've filmed a lot of it, so I'm not shy on how they've done it. They actually remember in the olden days, Becky, they'd paint like a relief on a wall, and then they would have a set that it kind of seemed as though that faded into the distance.
Yes.
And if you lit the background well enough, that it seemed like it was seamless between the transition between foreground, midground, and the background. The background was just a matte. So now they actually have these huge continuous like LCD screens, like QLEDs, that actually they're all computer controlled backgrounds, and the actual background is illuminating the people.
Oh, okay.
So they can see the actual background or see the thing that they're looking at because it's there. It's all on screen. And it's fantastic the way that you don't even see any of that. You don't see it. You don't see where it stops and where it starts. You just don't. You don't see. It's tremendous. So, without giving anything away in the movie, at all, not going to do it because no spoilers here, right? And unless we're talking about conspiracies, it's out there, right? Or the
Yeah, no.
Oh, we don't do
Wrong
that.
show.
Oh, sorry, that was a cross line. So I just want to say it was remarkable enough for me to comment. I mean, The Matrix did technical things with cameras, yeah, and practical sets and things like that, which made it all seamless, right? But it's a new level. I think they've raised the bar yet again. So
yeah, well, I mean, that's what they have to do these days to get people in the cinema, you know.
yeah, well, I went. I was celebrating my birthday 2 days too soon.
Yes, you were.
Yeah.
In fact, Dave was born on that most auspicious of days. Tomorrow. That's the day. Tomorrow. It's always tomorrow, right? No.
I do
April
know a lot of
1st, in
people
case-
that are born tomorrow.
Really?
Not this tomorrow, but some other days tomorrow.
Hey, that's most everybody. Crazy. What?
Except for the leap
no.
years, you know what I'm saying.
Hey, listen, though, it is Dave's birthday tomorrow, so if you want to wish him well, or maybe you want to wish him specifically not well, that's also
Just like the people
acceptable.
that told me my autobiography was wrong. That's hilarious.
Wrong. You weren't there, Dave. Listen to the experts. I'm an expert in Daveology, okay? You don't
Look,
know what you're
if-
talking about.
If it's anyone but my CIA handler, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah,
See, that's
I had
funny,
an accident
right?
with
That's
my
funny.
handler. That's a different story, though. What?
I got something. I have something to raise, and that was the bridge in Baltimore.
Oh, yes.
Engineers all around the world are now putting out videos on YouTube. They never do that. Engineers and the people behind the scenes, they don't want any publicity at all. None. Just none.
Huh.
You talk to an engineer about a problem, they'll come up with a solution, and then they've disappeared. They only come out for the problems. Right? They only emerge from their hibernation. Like mystical creatures, they only come out to solve a problem, and then they whoosh it and they're gone again, right? But each one of them has like an opinion towards what they think happened. And the funniest meme that I saw as a result of all of that conversation was the meme just said, "A ship hit it."
That's true.
The ship hit the bridge.
It's factually correct.
That's right. And that happened. And pointing at all the destruction there.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen timelines that we already knew. We were so close on the night, just 2 hours after. We were so close to being what the current wording is. Remember I mentioned the pilots, Mickey, on the day? I mentioned looks like the ship had a blackout, and it did. But it also steered. It also steered towards the bridge right before the blackout, and then you couldn't stop it. The only thing that's really interesting is, was it a GPS hack where someone pretends to be a GPS satellite in order to give it the wrong coordinates, but that wouldn't account for, maybe they flicked the switch as soon as they realized it was all going haywire and turned the ship off. Still no word on that. But the only thing, Becky, that came out of all of the stupid engineer videos that I watched, because I watched too many of them, and that was, in Australia, we handle those protective rings around bridge pylons in a different way. We have a ramp that goes shallower and shallower and shallower up until the pylon, like a perimeter away from the pylon. So if you're in a heavy ship and you start to grind up like you're beaching the vessel, and that's how these things behave, it takes a lot of the energy out of the vessel, see? Because that thing's, what, 500,000 tons or some crazy thing? You're not stopping that. You know, the bridge protections that were made for 1/100th of that. So that's the only thing that we learned because of that bridge in Tasmania that was collided into. And we learned from that episode what to do properly. And look, the only engineering discussion you need to have is let's examine all of our bridges and make sure they're up to date. That's it. Yeah. And if anyone else wants to chime in, good luck with that. I think you're going to be... Mickey, it's the thing that happens to me in meetings. Post-meeting, people say, why didn't you say anything? I said everything had been said.
But you didn't add value, Dave. You didn't add value.
I'm not going to reiterate someone else's point. I don't need to. There's no point.
Thank you.
Otherwise, we'd be there all day.
And I like to
I really liked what you said. And yeah, and you said something valuable too, you know. And
yeah. Hoorah.
All you're doing is burning money, right? And that, I don't believe in that, right?
You know, we've all been, I know Dave has, for a fact, part of the discussions and meetings where they go, well, it's all very good, but you know, you misspelled mirror on page 2, and there was a comma missing, and there was a run-on sentence on slide 8. So
I do that.
Just sharpen up there, Dave. Just sharpen up.
I critique everybody's presentation at the end when it's only just me and that person left. I'll try and help them. Say, you spelt every instance of SD-WAN without a hyphen and no capitalization. I know what product you're talking about. But that's the name of it. No, it's not. I swear, if you go onto the website, you go to any website, look up the definition of it, you'll see the correct way of spelling it. Let's go that way next time.
Oh, brother.
It annoys me. I count them. If it's an online meeting, I'll have a little pad, and I'll count the ums and ahs and misspellings. I can't help it.
That is a thing. It is a thing. And what
these
what
people
we
are
don't do
above
anymore.
me. Mickey, they're above me
Well,
in the organisation.
Look, we used to, Dave and I, in a similar line of work, and years ago, and I want to say probably about 20 years ago, my company used to run these training sessions, and we hired professional actors and actresses to help us with our presentations, to help us with the flow of speech, to limit the number of ums and ahs in our speech patterns. Now, not easy, but very effective, especially once you videotape yourself talking. And most of us initially did the little dance on stage. I don't know if you've seen the little dance. You know, people do a little dance as they speak. If you're on a stage and you're not meant to stand, or someone tells you not to stand somewhere, and you're given free rein as to what you want to do, everybody does a little dance. It's really funny. But up and down the stage and back and forth, you know, it does look like you're dancing to an invisible tune. Or rather, sorry. Not
You should own the
but
space.
rather
You need to own the space. That's it.
Yeah, a tune that only you can hear. No one else. On the space, that's the way. And my wife is actually a member of Toastmasters. And they do exactly what you do, Dave. Count the numbers of M's and R's. They help you with your speech patterns and your ability to communicate effectively. And this is really what this is about. I mean, how do we speak in such a fashion that people actually take in what it is we're saying? It's one thing to just go on, bloviate, blah 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 blah, right, all day long, and you can do that. Of course you can. And my favorite person to do this was Bill O'Reilly. I love Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly. He was go. I liked him for the comedic value on Fox. I mean, I watched him religiously because you knew there would be something coming their way. That you would just go, yeah, gold, Riley, pure Riley. There's one M here. Having said that, though, it is difficult to control and difficult, but it's practice. Initially, Dave and I, we had misgivings about our ability to speak for an hour, let alone two, on the radio. Oh, what? Because we had material for 2 shows, I think. That's what we had when we first started. Let's write it all down, Dave.
Right.
Yeah, let's write it down.
And it was like reading the index to an encyclopedia.
That's right. And the time at the next tone is 2:15 and 30 seconds. Beep! Let's read horoscopes. That would have been a low point. But no, it is important though, and this is something that we hardly ever talk about.
That's right.
On the radio as well, especially on the radio, because we have no video really that you don't look at us, so you can't be dazzled by our beauty, such as it is, and we have to communicate in a fashion that is memorable, enjoyable, and hopefully, other than enjoyable, also entertaining. So you enjoy it, but you're also entertained by it. You might make you smile or giggle, or maybe there's a serious subject we touch. And we can present it in such a way that doesn't feel like the entire world is just crashing down on you, right? That's sort of our purpose.
Unless you've heard one of my solo shows.
or one of mine when I had too much coffee. That doesn't help. Billionaire parasites. I blame them. But it is fun, and hopefully you can hear us having fun on the air as well. There's a distinct difference between a voice that is smiling and a voice that is not smiling. And you can hear it. It's astounding. You can truly hear it. It is.
Do you know what else you can hear, Mackie? I know you'll know this one, but I'll throw it out there anyway. Whether you are sitting or standing, and whether the person you're imagining that you're talking to is sitting or standing.
That's right.
So if both of you are sitting or seated, then the conversation is equally relaxed. When you're standing and imagining the person that you're talking to is sitting, it's a completely different relationship.
That is true.
And you can tell that as well. Yeah, it actually changes the way you speak.
Yeah, there's more anxiety in the call. If a person, if both are standing, it's a lot more. I don't know what's the best word. Not energetic, but it's a lot more forceful and pointed. When you're sitting,
on a
you
lot
can
of
have a
radio
conversation.
shows now. They actually have everyone standing to keep the energy high.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess. Well, you see, that's funny. You should say that because in the beginning was the word. No, in the beginning of radio, people were standing. So
radio plays,
broadcast in the
everyone's
olden
standing.
days.
Yeah, I've seen the footage. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone was standing. The radio announcers, even people reading the news, they were all standing. Nobody was sitting. And they had these old-fashioned, microphones that you have from the 40s and 50s with the big knob, and like that not cyberpunk look, but
they had a Bakelite center.
Yeah, that's right. The Art Deco kind of
that's
look,
right.
and I love that. But yeah, everybody was standing. Everybody was standing. There was no one. In fact, a lot of these radio shows had an audience. Believe it or not.
That's true. Yeah.
There was So it is kind of like sitcoms these days. Or well, not all sitcoms, but some sitcoms still have a studio audience, and that's it. All came from radio. It's well, I guess what works in one medium probably works in another as well. But yeah, it's it's funny how these things developed. Radio. Look at us, still on the radio, but on a computer, no less.
That's right.
Rather than in the studio. Fascinating.
I'll confess, I am sitting.
Oh, I'm always sitting.
That's right.
Like Churchill said, "Why stand when I can sit?" Of course, he was talking about showers and baths, but nonetheless, It is. It holds true.
Oh,
And,
I've not had a shower while I'm sitting, unless I was very young and I sat on the floor of the shower, and this is I'm stealing a Stephen Wright bit, and pretended like I was in a submarine that was being hit.
Nice.
I love,
I
love your work, Steve.
We didn't have a shower in Germany. We didn't have a shower. We had a bath
Uh-huh.
with a handheld, I guess,
Oh,
water
Yeah.
sprouty thing.
Yep.
But no shower. There was no fixture to put the water sprout any higher than it already was. You were holding it. Coming to Australia, lo and behold, everything is a shower. There's a bath, of course, as well, but everything is a shower. which
Sometimes there's a shower
focus.
over the bath. You've got to stand in
Yeah.
the bath to have the shower.
Yeah. Love a shower. Now, Dave here, of course, being the man of wealth and leisure that he is, he's got a double-headed shower
That's
in his
right.
house, which
Yeah,
is
that was-
the ultimate.
Yeah, that's right. So without getting myself into trouble, I purchased a bunch of shower heads from a gym that was closing, and they've got the pulse and the massage and the jet, all those things in it, right?
Look at Mr. Moneybags over here.
I used to go to the
What?
office all the time. So Grays, Isdell and Tim's,
Oh.
they were actually going to do a story on me because they didn't know what I was buying all this stuff for, but I was buying everything for my house. I was just about to, between the design
Those
phase
forests.
because we designed it ourselves. So between the design phase and when we commenced building, I had a mission to purchase all the things we needed. And I even bought 5 very large kitchen slab size benches in black granite. And I had them stored because the building was being built and I couldn't put them anywhere. And the company that stored them updated their software and then went, "Oh, what's all this stuff in here? We didn't even know it was there, a stock take." So they sold it on me. And then I went in to get it when we were ready, and I said, "What black granite?" I said, "The stuff you were storing for me." "Oh, that guy's gone now." You know, and I lost 5 huge slabs, man. Thousands
You're
of dollars.
kidding.
Nah, serious. So 5. I was.
Did you have a receipt?
I did, but they said that the software's changed. They couldn't find the same receipt number, like I'd made it up or something. Yep. And it was just so rotten. I couldn't go anywhere with it. I couldn't do anything because it was me and against them, and you know.
Just tell me who the company is, Dave, and we'll see what we can do.
No, it's too late now. It was.
No, Dave. Listen,
So I wanted a black granite shower. That would have been so nice, you know, with the double.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, dude. 100%.
It's nearly 8 foot wide. Right, the shower recess itself. It's pretty cool. Huge door, all glass.
So it's as wide as you. That's amazing.
Thank you. Centimeter. Like now that the camera thing is now on people's minds. Jeez, I wish we could see them.
Probably
Is any of
not.
this true?
He's 8
No.
foot wide. He's
It's
hideous.
What I'm Jabba the Hutt.
Go
I've
on.
got I'm Homer in the Moo. That's what it is, and I've got the little dude
Wash myself
Hitting-
with a rag on a stick.
rag on a stick. That's
Rag on a stick.
Who's this?
That's what you need.
it. So anyway, that's what I wanted, and it never came to fruition. The other thing that I bought was a glass sink for the vanity sink after you want to wash your hands after going to the toilet, and I bought this glass one, which was meant to be suspended, so it didn't have a frame or anything. It was so fantastic, and the builder built the wall a centimetre too short.
You're kidding.
No, so without all the tiles on the wall, it would have worked, but because the tiles were on the wall, it was too big then, and it was just it's like, really? Oh man.
The
And I
best
had
laid
everything.
plans of mice and men.
Yeah, well, I thought they were project managing it, and that was not right. The other thing was, I turned up one day, and one of the walls on the outside of the house, because it's a steel frame, was round the wrong way. I'm going, the window's in the wrong spot. It's in the window. Right? So the window.
There's a door on the floor. What?
The window was inside the wardrobe. And I go in, because I'm the designer, right? I'm the architect of the house. So I go in and I talk to the builder who, I am not going to be rude. You can make your own determination. I said, that panel is round the wrong way and the window's inside the wardrobe. He goes, I thought that was a bit weird. I said, I hope it's not too soon that we can swap it round, right? Because that'd be good for it to be in the right spot, because the window should be here, see? And he looks at the plans and it's the external elevation, but we're standing inside the house looking at it. So it's reversed. It's perfect to his plan of the orientation of the panel, but we're inside. And I said, how about we go outside and have a look from the outside, so we're matching the elevation, the westerly wall. Let's have a look at it from outside. I had to trot him out to have a look, and then he goes, oh, I see what you mean. Okay, so can someone stop him from building the rest of the house, please?
Good Lord.
I told the owner of the company, a small company, and he got pulled off the job, and the guy that I love and have used many times on modifications to my own house. He's a great guy, and he does whatever I need. So
you're more forgiving than I am, I can tell you that.
Well, I didn't want to upset him. He has power tools, and here I am, an IT guy. Reciprocating saws can do wonders if you're angry at somebody, I'm sure, right?
I'm just saying you're much more forgiving than I am. And again, good on you. Good on you. I'm an elephant when it comes to things like that. I never forget. And one day, 30 years later, you'll find yourself, maybe having an unfortunate accident. What happened? Remember? You remember? What? No! I remember.
That'll make a good story, Mickey.
I know,
That'll
right?
make a good movie.
True.
We should do that one day.
Actually, maybe we should. Now, sorry. There's one thing I wanted to. There's one thing I wanted to bring up, because it came up again this week, and it's the one thing that bothers me the most out of all the Mandela-related effects.
Okay.
The one thing.
All right.
Bothers me the most, because I know, and even it's internally consistent even. So this is the one. This is the James Bond one.
I'm waiting with bated breath.
Where
yes.
you have Jaws.
Jaws.
The big guy with the steel teeth.
This was Moonraker, wasn't it?
Exactly, it was Moonraker, and he's eating the rocket with his teeth.
That's right.
Thing. When he's eating, I'll eat your spaceship. Anyway, and he meets this girl, blonde, pigtails, small, much smaller than him, but then that's not hard in Jaws.
Yeah.
With glasses, and they smile at each other, and she has got a mouthful of metal as well. In her case, they were braces.
Mm-hmm.
And that moment, something sparked, and Jaws didn't really care about killing James Bond anymore, and just wanted to save his girl, I guess.
And they held hands and walked away from the camera.
Correct. But it was this iconic moment when he saw her smile, because he wasn't smiling, he saw her, and then he saw her smile with a mouthful of teeth, then he smiled, and they both smiled even bigger smiles. And
because they
without her
both
having
had something tremendous in common.
Bingo. And without her having braces, this scene doesn't make sense. I haven't watched it in a long time. I don't even know if that scene is still in there.
It is.
But it wouldn't make any sense. She had to have metal in her mouth, and I remember that she did. That was why, because I was young when I watched it, right? And I thought, it makes sense. In my child's, I would have been, in my early teens, I think. Mm-hmm. In my child's mind, it made sense that she should, or they should like each other because they both had metal in their mouth. You know what I mean? So this is not a false memory. That's what I remember.
No, it's not falsehood at all. Not even at all. Because that's what it was written in the script.
Well, that makes the most sense. But, you know what? This is really the one thing where I put hand on my heart and I say, I look. I've got no opinion on the Berenstain or Berenstein Bears because I didn't grow up with them. Mandela, I'm pretty sure what I know, but I could be wrong. This one, I know 100% what I saw. And the same with Fruit of the Loom, but this one even more so because it is internally consistent with the story itself. Not just my recollection of it, right? It makes sense within the frame of the story to have her have braces. I mean, that makes perfect sense that he should find someone like that.
She was the braces girl.
Yes.
And
100%.
the current copy of that film that you can see anywhere, she doesn't have braces.
I know.
That flipped me for a loop, Mickey, because I'm on the Mandela dying in prison group because I saw it. I talked to my mother about it, and you know that's terrible. You know, and it's like, well, that happens. And then when he was released, we looked at each other and we go, hey, how is that even possible? Because he died, right? And this one is exactly the same. So I went to the movies with my mother because she was a James Bond fan, loved all the movies, saw Moonraker in the cinema, and we had the same thing. We had the same impression about their romance because they both had metal mouths. They had metal in their mouths. So I found a reference to it to stop me going crazy. On the James Bond fan website, where they say that it did exist back then, but you won't find a copy now.
This is actually something I should share with you. Hang on a second. This is from BBC. No longer here. What?
Oh no, don't tell me.
I found a link on Reddit, and it says here, so this is from a person that this is Justinish posted this. Why would they get it wrong? Keel reprised the role of Jaws in the 1979 film Moonraker. The film culminated with Jaws changing sides and joining forces with Bond to save the world. It also saw, this is a quote, it also saw romance blossom between Jaws and Dolly, a small pigtailed blonde with braces.
That's right.
Comically played by Blanche Ravalek. So I went to the link, and let me just double check. It's now a different. It's still about Jaws. In pictures, Richard Keel. Here you go. There you go. This is from the BBC website, bbc.com. I'll send you the link. I'm reading it now off the BBC website, www.bbc.com. This is from the website. Keel reprised the role of Jaws in the 1979 film Moonraker. The film culminated with Jaws changing sides and joining forces with Bond to save the world. It also saw romance blossom between Jaws and Dolly, a small, pigtailed blonde with braces. That's comically played by Blanche Ravalek. So that's off the... This is from 2014, this article. That's when he died, at the age of 74, Richard Keel, that is. So there is a reference here, and you ask yourself, well, why would the BBC get this wrong? Surely they wouldn't get this wrong, right?
Yeah.
But there it is. So I don't feel so crazy anymore, to be honest with you, but it does boggle the mind, simply because that is a thing that we can point to and say, hey, this is not how it was at all. So why is it changed? This is my question. Remember, in order for a phenomenon to be real, only one phenomenon has to be real.
That's right.
So out of 1 billion UFO sightings, only one has to be real for that phenomenon to exist. Fair enough? Out of all Bigfoot sightings, Sasquatch, Yeti, I don't care what you call that thing, only one has to be real for the whole thing to be real. Okay, only one. You don't need 50. One. One has to be real. This is the same. So the false memory argument doesn't fly here.
No, it doesn't.
Because the BBC has an article, I mean, what? What? And there's a whole bunch of people that remember her with braces. So Dave, now 2014, or maybe earlier, when did Hadron Collider come online? Hadron Collider.
Oh, I forget the date. Wasn't it
online in
2000?
Blah blah blah. Here we go. It went 2008, which is before 2014. So is it possible that a whole bunch of these Mandela effects came to be, or started to come to be, in 2000 or after 2008? Is that a possibility? I want to say yes. So I want to say something is probably connected to it. Not only it, but you have to understand that the Hadron Collider, if it works properly, can probably also affect past events. Okay, because that's the nature of the particle research they do there. So, okay, here we go. Nelson Mandela received a life sentence in 1964. I think everybody would agree with that, right? That's all the common history that we have, right? So, and then he was imprisoned apparently for 27 years. That's what they say, right? And then here we go. And on February 11, 1990, Nelson Mandela was freed after 27 years in prison. 27 years. Then he became president of South Africa, which was, of course, amazing. But a lot of people believe, and me included, that we saw news footage of him dying in prison. He was the longest-serving political prisoner at the time, if I remember correctly, and he had died in prison. But I don't know, man. It's just... It's really crazy. Because that's a real thing. I have no doubt in my mind at all. I was a bit dubious before. You know how you always double check yourself, Dave? You always go, am I right? Is it real? Maybe I am misremembering it. Because ultimately, I mean, can you trust your memory? But this James Bond thing, that took it over the top for me completely. It makes no sense. Oh, by the way, Flea, I completely agree. That's absolutely. I completely agree with the red-headed giants being a real thing. In fact, I believe that the red-headed people are a separate race, if you will, within the human spectrum. They're their own people in many ways. Similarly with the small people and albinos and so forth. I think our genetic variety was a lot more various. A lot more varied back in the olden days. But isn't that fascinating? Look, I think we should do another show on the Mandela effect coming up, because now we can look at it from a quantum perspective. Bear with me for a second. So all these realities that sort of collapse when you have the reality that it is being observed. So all the other realities that could be aren't, because we've just observed the one that we're in right now. What would happen, Dave, if there was a split between what people truly believed, I mean, really, really believed and expected to happen, right? And these were big numbers, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 different camps for a certain outcome. I wonder how reality would react to that. I really do. Right? And would it be enough to just have it happen on this planet, or would you have to happen does it have to happen on every planet with every sentient species across galaxy?
Oh, wow, yeah, okay.
Look, I don't know, but my point is, when people start to disagree about the nature of reality, but really fundamentally, and I'm not talking about political systems, I'm not talking about who should be president or not, I'm talking about the fundamental nature of reality and what we believe happened and didn't happen. What would happen to reality right? If the observers no longer agreed as to how the curve should collapse, right? The quantum decoherence, for example, relies on the observer to expect something. So you observe it, something happens. Okay? Before you observe it, in the quantum field, wave function, everything happens. It's all there.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at it, pardon, I'm simplifying it, of course, here. You look at it and boom, one thing happens. What if you've got people looking at it that have fundamentally opposing points of view to the very fundamental reality we live in? That would be a really interesting experiment. I'd love to do that experiment one day. If we can somehow do it. But would we, Dave, would we break reality? Would we break reality? Because, I mean, this is the thing. So you and I, let's say you believe that Mandela died in prison, and I believe Mandela was released in 1990. So let's just say that's the situation, right?
Yep.
And then you and I both are part of the double slit experiment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we look at the data at the same time, like the
Yes.
the result.
Yes.
But no one else, just you and me.
Yep.
At
I
the same
understand.
time.
Mm-hmm.
What? Would anything happen? Could something happen? Or are we just going to be washed out by the great number of people that believe otherwise? You know what I mean? So, because there's within quantum dynamics, or within quantum mechanics rather,
Mm-hmm.
there's something called the washout effect. As the quantum scale reaches our scale, the macro scale of things, the quantum effects seem to wash out. So they don't seem to be as pronounced anymore. They don't seem to matter as much anymore once you come to what we like to call the macro level. Of course, there's a meta level beyond us, but let's not talk about that for a second. So is the washout effect enough to just negate your and my belief systems? These are things I think we should really test. Maybe not us, but somebody out there in the world should really test it. And could we then split off realities and visit them willy-nilly, maybe creating portals or rifts in space-time?
You're just going to birth new ones
Wouldn't that be something?
according to the rules,
But yeah, look, I've honestly,
like time travel.
yeah. After I saw the braces, I thought, I guess it's the first time that you see a UFO. I saw one.
Mm-hmm.
When I was probably 19, 20. I was driving with my friend in the car. We just came from the gym, and we're going up Constitution Hill in Wentworthville, and we're driving, and I think we're looking due north. I think it was due north, but I could be wrong. But I think we're looking due north. It's this clear sky, clear night, and there's this flash. It wasn't a flash of light. It was like a length of light from, if you look at it, it's like 1 centimeter of light, if you will, that shot up in the sky. That's what like a illuminated rod. That's called illuminated rod that shot up in the sky. If you had blinked, you would have missed it. That's how fast it went.
Wow.
From I guess what you could see as the horizon all the way until it was gone. But so fast, literally, if you had blinked, you wouldn't have seen it. So I turned to my friend and I said to him, "Did you see it?" He goes, "Yes." "What was it?" "I have no idea," he says. "No, I have no idea either." Right? But clearly it was something that moved so fast that it couldn't have been, at that time, certainly, we're talking about the early 90s here, couldn't have been made by us. And certainly in Australia, but there was no space program in Australia that we know of anyway.
No.
So at that point, I no longer question whether or not UFOs are a thing, because I saw one. And I know what I saw. My friend saw it. And I know if I hadn't seen it, if my eyes hadn't opened, if I had blinked, I would not have seen it. And now I've seen the braces, Dave. I've seen the braces.
Yeah.
And because it is internally consistent from a storyline point of view, the way you would write it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now it's bad writing. It's terrible writing, okay? But it's still it's a heartwarming story to see the bad guy Jaws trying to help Bond because now he's got a girl, etc., etc.
That's right.
But that moment of when he connects with her,
yeah, totally.
she had braces, man.
Totally.
Anyway,
Yeah, I'm with you.
braces.
I saw someone post a thing on Reddit about. So how much do I trust Reddit? It's the internet that you ask a million people and get a million different answers, right? That's really what I see it to be. So,
Completely.
so anything they can provide is and rather than anecdotal evidence and maybe a link to something that might help you, that's good. And it's a good resource for that. It's just a huge echo chamber of agreeance and argument, right? That's really all I see it. And I try to stay away from Reddit as much as possible. But, you know, it does what it does. And there's people who have made YouTube channels over just reading the comments. That's good for you, right? Anyway, someone said that the actress herself said that she didn't wear braces at all through the filming, and they were added in later. Okay. Sure. They didn't have CG like they do today, where you can just do whatever you want. That would have been extraordinarily difficult for them to do that.
Oh yeah.
Back
Very
then.
difficult.
And it's certainly in a movie that used practical effects everywhere. So that's real models and real sets. That's what practical means. So not CG or matte. They didn't use a lot of mattes. So that's painted backgrounds with clever camera angles. So this is it. Today, if I use Mandela's death in prison as an example, because this is now the timeline where he didn't die, you ask anyone and they'll say he didn't die. I remember seeing the news story on the TV with an anchor saying the words out loud. In my timeline, those people would remember that way, that version. So where we crossed over those two timelines, which I believe is a thing, is when he was released from prison. Because there's a huge departure from someone being dead to being alive again and leaving prison, right?
Just a little.
Yeah. So he's, undead. No, he was never dead, apparently. So in the version that we have today, she never wear braces. She didn't have them even for the filming. But she had them in that scene. I remember seeing it, and we talked about it. And a lot of people in Reddit were talking about... What's funny is because I said with my friends, this is not me, this is this other person, said, what if they kissed and they got stuck? Right? Because that's a worry for people who have braces.
That is true.
They could get
but Jaws didn't have braces.
He didn't. He just had metal teeth. But this is what the kid of our age, when it was there, that's what they thought when they saw it.
100%.
And it was a thing. And you don't think that if she didn't.
That's right.
It's not one of those thoughts that come to your head. You don't think of that scenario. That scenario is never going to play out if she never had braces. And even on that fan page, on the James Bond fan page, who says that in the original release did have it, and then subsequently it's been removed.
Now, why anybody would deliberately remove it is, of course, anyone's guess. That makes even less sense than it never had it been there. Why would you remove it? But but let's say it had been removed.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a release which had it, maybe the cinematic release. Okay, tick. And then it was removed for whatever reason, aesthetics. I don't know. Woke people.
Maybe when they digitized it, Mickey.
Well, sure, all of that. But then there would be no argument then.
That's right.
They would say, okay, well, it was there before, and here's the version where it has it, and now here's the version it doesn't have it. But that version of having apparently never existed.
Well,
so the narrative goes now.
You've got the final word on it. Because there's the music.
And there's the music. That's the word. Word.
Word up. All right, so we're going to come back after the break with part 7 of Cosrev Mirror, Time Travel and Remote Viewing. Do stay tuned on the station, but if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a new YouTube for the next hour.